with a festival you have an opportunity for the artists and the public to get to know one another in a way you don't in an orchestra concert or a piano recital or even a jazz concert, because the artists are living in town. They're here for a week at least, and they're going to restaurants and parties and open rehearsals, lectures, that sort of thing. And the artists and our public really do mingle. And we get to, and the staff gets to mingle with them too. And that enhances the experience so much when you're sitting in the hall and it's someone who you've gotten to know even in a cursory way, but just said hello to a couple times. And it's a great deal more fun, a richer experience. So it's fun for all of us on the staff. They're having a great time when they're here. So they walk out on that stage, and so they're walking into a welcoming audience, or an audience where, if when you were in the high school play and your mom and your dad and your uncles and your aunts and your cousins were all out in the audience, and so you felt supported, they feel supported. I don't think it changes interpretations, it doesn't change preparation. It merely enhances their confidence when they walk on the stage. I lived in England for a while, for about a year, and in England, going to a performance, you get up, you brush your teeth, you go to work, you go out to lunch, you go back to work, you have a bite to eat, and you go to a performance, and then you go home. And it's sort of a general pattern of life. You buy your tickets at the box office just before you walk in the door, and yet in America, going to a live performance tends to be a big separate event. You plan it weeks in advance. For many events, you have big ticket prices, and you've got to get your tickets early and all that sort of thing. And then you go out to dinner, and then you go to the concert. I don't know why that's happened in America, that we've made entertainment, music, dance, theater, a kind of separate, special thing rather than a normal part of daily life. But we have, and it's broken down during festivals. It's easier, and I think more informal. At a festival, because we have performances every night, one night after another, it's a much more casual approach. Not casual. It's just it's not so reverential, so separate, and it becomes more a part of people's day-to-day life during the month of August. SummerFest is unique in my experience in a couple of ways. We have 70 to 100 artists who come each year, and they live in people's homes. This doesn't happen in Aspen or Tanglewood or Carramore, Santa Fe. They are embedded like those members of the press. They are embedded in the community. So we have audience members who are cooking them breakfast in the morning, and they are rehearsing in people's homes. That has, for many years, created a special feeling among the artists who are invited here. And many of them come back and say, oh, I'd love to stay with Mrs. Jones again, if that's possible. Your first question was just how I look at the future and what do I see for the festival. Well, we've made some changes this year, and I believe that none of the changes affect the core, the very essence of what SummerFest is, which is we try to find the very best artists, the very best musicians around the world, Asian artists, European artists, and bring them together for 3 intense weeks. Many of them have played together in other places and know one another. Some of them are part of our fellowship program, young artists, something we're very committed to, and they play with these world-class artists, these artists with long careers, and make great chamber music. This is, after all, a chamber music festival. In the last several years, SummerFest has grown, and so we have a Friday night series at North Park, which tends to be a little jazzier. We have some dance on that series, and we also have all of our new works, our premieres, our commissions at North Park. But this year we've added two new things. We have a Tuesday night series which is composer driven. This year we're focusing on Beethoven, early, middle, and late period. And the Wednesday night series is really an artist-driven series. This we call an evening with Jimmy Lin, an evening with Sarah Chang, and an evening with Lynn Harrell. And here, our music director, Jimmy Lin, curates with these particular artists a program which they'd really love to present, some repertory that they might not have been asked to do somewhere else and have been dying to do for years, or maybe something that they're preparing to record. And both of those have added, along with the Friday night series, a kind of clarity to our structure that enables us to program future seasons more in advance. I am the president, but I'm also the artistic director of La Jolla Music Society. And that means that I'm responsible for all artistic aspects that appear on our stages. But it also means that the colors of the subscription brochure, just what the program book looks like, what the flowers look like on stage. We've changed the color of the stage itself. We have a certain blue wash and then a purple wash down the side, and that kind of detail is terribly important to me, how everything looks. Even though it's a chamber music festival, there are a lot of choices that go into which cater we use and what are the flowers on the table for the receptions. One of the real attractions of this job to me was that Jimmy would be my music director. You know him. You've worked with him for several years. He is first and foremost an extraordinary musician, greatly gifted as a violinist, highly respected as a colleague, and a joy to work with, as honorable and imaginative and fun a colleague I've never had. And what we do is, together we craft the outline of the festival. We'll decide that next year we want to have these two string quartets, that the composer series will focus on Schumann or Haydn or something like that, and who the principal artists will be in a particular evening with series. And then Jimmy creates programs, repertory with those evening with artists, or special programs around that basic structure. And then we talk about what repertory we haven't done before, what repertory we'd love to bring to the festival, and also what will sell, terribly important. And then a big part of it is the commissions. La Jolla Music Society is one of the major commissioners of chamber music in America. And I want us to get to a point where we have 4 new commissions every year. And I'm hoping in about a year or two, each year we will have one of those composers come from up the street. I think you and I have talked a little bit about the idea that there are hundreds of incredibly talented composers sitting in Los Angeles composing for film. And I think many of them would love the freedom, the opportunity to have the freedom, not to compose for a particular number of beats in a shot, but the freedom to compose for a series of orchestra members or chamber musicians in whatever configuration they'd like. So we'd like to have a jazz composer every year, we'd like to have a film composer every year, and then two highly respected classical music composers. So Jimmy and I work back and forth. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Jimmy's great expertise is in repertory. I mean, he knows every single piece of chamber music repertory ever written by anybody, and that along with his musicianship is a great joy for me.